Okay, Miami Dolphins fans, you guys been waiting for this one for at least a few days, and now I've come around to do it. Welcome to the second edition of the Miami Dolphins recap, as we are going to be talking about, or at least I'm going to dissect at least parts of the reasons why the Miami Dolphins lost on Sunday to the Jacksonville Jaguars by the final score of 23-20. Basically, we're gonna get right into about the game. We'll go drive by drive, and then I'm gonna give everything that I felt that was wrong about this game, that pretty much doomed the Dolphins in this situation, and what really definitely leaves a bitter taste in the mouth um, for the Dolphins, to say the very least. It started practically really early in the game as the Jacksonville Jaguars gets the ball first, goes on a 10 play, 82-yard drive, took only 5 minutes and 39 seconds in the game, and it ended with Blake Bortles finding Allen Robinson for the touchdown from 3 yards out, and Miami was quickly in a 7-nothing hole. Miami gets the ball, goes on a 5 play, 50-yard drive, taking about 2 minutes and 5 seconds. And our new rookie kicker, Andrew Franks, gets a 48-yard field goal, and that sets Miami up. They get points on the board. It goes to 7-3. Jacksonville leads in the game. Then Jacksonville makes another great drive, an 8 play, 71-yard drive, takes about 3 minutes and 56 seconds off the clock. Jason Myers hits a 27-yard field goal, and that gives the Jacksonville Jaguars now a 10-7, a 10-3 lead. Um, then Miami gets the ball in the second quarter. Basically, they go on a 10 play, 56-yard drive. A lot of people thought this should have been the drive where maybe they could have gotten a touchdown, maybe made a big play here. Unfortunately, they couldn't make some of the plays. Their running game non-existent. We'll get into that in a little bit. But Andrew Franks hits another field goal. That was from 41 yards out. That gave it a 10-6 game. Then Jacksonville with a back-breaking touchdown for themselves, as they drive down the field, and then the big play. Allen Robinson catches one from 46 yards out. Blake Bortles basically blown coverage. The secondary got burned on this one so badly, and it led to a touchdown. That made it 17-6, and it looked like the floodgates were on. Next thing we know, Miami comes right back down on the field, basically gets a touchdown right before halftime, right before the half, as they score, as Ryan Tannehill finds Darren Williams from 10 yards out. That was a key touchdown that we needed. That made the game 17-13, and that's basically what the score was at halftime. Once the third quarter basically came out, Miami drove down the field to start the third quarter. Actually, drove down the field and tried to get a field goal to try to make it 17-16. It was no good. Then, basically, just before the quarter ends, Jacksonville hits us with a dirty hit, as Myers hits one from 58 yards out. There was a little controversy about the positioning of the football. Maybe Jacksonville might have been able to get an extra yard or two that maybe they should not have gotten, but whatever. They get the field goal. That made it 20-13. That sent us all the way to halftime. Third quarter, Miami gets the ball first and basically makes this great methodical drive, basically going 8 plays, 80 yards, and only using about 4.5 minutes. And it led to a Ryan Tannehill to Jake Stoneburner touchdown. Stoneburner was actually a practice squad player. Basically, he got signed from the practice squad, inserted into the main roster, and lo and behold, he gets a touchdown, his first NFL touchdown for him. And I know I could hear it in the back of a whole bunch of fantasy owners. That helps no one. I know it didn't help me in my fantasy leagues, and I actually went really well. I actually went 4-1 in my fantasy league. I'm like in 5 different leagues. I don't know how on earth I got into that, but I went 4-1 this week. I only lost once in one other fantasy league, so not bad for me. But enough about that. Let's get back into the Dolphins game. Basically, then the whole entire game was practically no opportunities. They were basically going either 3-and-out, 6 and. Dolphins were making some great plays. The defense really started to ratchet up and get really good. And then, I mean, what was undoubtedly one of the most okay, I think this is probably going to be as good as we can talk about this. So let's go play by play on this last drive. Jacksonville gets the ball starting at their 24-yard line. So the first pass goes to Marquise Lee. He gets it up to the 42-yard line. Then there was an incomplete pass. 2nd and 10, they find Allen Hurns. So they find Allen Hurns. That gets it for 19 yards. That gets it to the 35. Then behind that, there was an offensive pass interference penalty, which was great for us. That pushed them back all the way back, and that pushed them to almost midfield. Then TJ Yeldon makes a small run, gets it up to about the 40-yard line. The next thing we know, they make the run, and Olivier Vernon, for no apparent reason, had to push one of the Jaguar players from behind. Flags go flying. We just got nailed for a 15-yard unnecessary roughness penalty. Talk about shooting yourself in the foot, for God's sakes. That puts the ball all the way down to the 19-yard line. Dolphin fans basically starts going up in arms because we know what just happened. That's ball game right there. You basically had a chance to push them out of field goal range, and now you give Jacksonville a chippy to practically win it. And that's what happens there. Jason Myers hits a 28-yard field goal with about 40-something seconds, about 35 seconds left in the game. Miami doesn't recover from that. Dolphins lose 23-20 was the final score. So now a lot of people are like, this was absolutely atrocious. Our defense absolutely stunk. I don't know what had gotten into the defense. Well, if you want to go on defensive stats, you definitely can make an argument that, yeah, the defense did let us down in this game because of the fact that if you take a look at this, basically the running game, basically Miami gave up 123 yards rushing on 33 carries, and then on top of that, they basically let Blake Bortles goes 18 of 33, 273 yards with 2 touchdowns. He doesn't get sacked at all. Like, he was stood up the whole game. Allen Robinson absolutely decimated the Dolphins. 6 catches for 155 yards and 2 touchdowns. Allen Hurns, 4 catches for 68 yards. Marquise Lee, 2 catches for 27 yards. The defense basically came to die. That's all that was, to say the very least, in that game. As far as the Miami Dolphins go, you can't blame Brian Tannehill. Tannehill had a very good game. 30 of 44, 359 yards passing with 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Yeah, he did get to sack twice. That was mainly in the second half. But the biggest problem we had, no running game whatsoever, just combined. Miami Dolphins was 16 carries for 42 yards. Our leading rusher was Ryan Tannehill, 3 carries for 17 yards. Then you had Lamar Miller, 10 carries for 14 yards. He averaged almost a yard and a half. Jarvis Landry not only had 1 carry, and then Damian Williams only had 2 carries. And the only saving grace we had was basically our receiving core. Rashad Matthews had six catches for 115 yards. Jarvis Landry, Juice, had 8 catches for 110 yards. Jordan Cameron, our tight end, 3 catches for 62 yards in the game. Lance, Lamar Miller, 5 catches for 28 yards. Jake Stoneburner had the 2 catches for 18 yards, including the touchdown one. And Damian Williams had 3 catches for 15 yards, plus the 10-yard touchdown catch as well. I mean, we can dissect every little thing about this game, and it pretty much was, I mean, it pretty much signified how bad Miami was. I mean, time of possession, Jacksonville had 30 minutes and 8 seconds. Miami 29:52, pretty close. 19 first downs to 17 first downs for Jacksonville. Total plays, they had 66 to Miami 62. Total yards, 396 to 386 advantage Jacksonville. The biggest problem Miami had in this game was the penalties. Miami committed 13 penalties for 112 yards. If you remember last season, Miami was one of the least penalized teams in the NFL, and this time around, we got tagged for 13 for 112. That is you can't do that. You cannot do that and expect to win this game at all. We got to clean up our act. We got to be more disciplined. And plus, to go up against a team like the Buffalo Bills, like we're going up on Sunday in Miami for the for the home opener at Sun Life, we got to get better. We got to get a better running game. We have to make Tannehill not throw as many passes, because they actually say that there's a stat or a figure saying that when he throws more than, I believe, 35 or 40 passes, Miami has a losing record. So we need to be more balanced offensively. We have to rush the quarterback, get to Tyrod Taylor, and stop their running game as well. Normally, when it's Miami and Buffalo, it's very highly competitive matchups. They normally go down to the wire, so we're going to wait and see what happens there. But at the end of the day, this was an embarrassing performance, a disgraceful performance. And yes, I understand, it is week 2. We still got 14 more weeks to go. And a lot of Dolphin fans were really upset with the loss. You know, saying same old stuff, same old song and dance. And I get that. But, you know, at the end of the day, Miami, we just got to play our game. You know, we got all this money. We spent all this money for a team to be a playoff contender. You know, a lot of people projected Miami maybe to be a wild card team. I know there was a few people out there, some of the experts, that claimed that, oh, I could see Miami win the AFC East. I could see Miami win the AFC and go into the Super Bowl, be in the 50th Super Bowl. I think our expectations is, you know, we got to play it week by week. Play our game, focus on the opponent that we get, and then if we win that game, then we move on to the next one. So we had one very shaky game, and we won. We had a very shaky game and we lost. We finally need to have a performance where we can say this is Miami Dolphin football. We need to solidify a performance that is basically Dolphin-esque, which is utilizing the running game, letting Tannehill, expand his field. He's got the receivers. We saw the numbers. The numbers are there. We got the receivers. We just got to play within ourselves. One guy who I know, basically he does a weekly report card for each of the performances, and he basically gave a D for the offense, a D for the defense, a C minus or a C plus for special teams, and coaching got an F. Now I agree with the coaching on the F side. If you want to say for passing game, I probably could say, maybe C, maybe a low B. Now, as far as the rushing game goes, it gets a D to an F in my mind. And our defense was, it was pretty bad as well. So we got to see what Miami does bring to the table in week 3 against Buffalo. And hopefully this time around we'll ride the ship, turn it around, and this time we'll have some happier moments and a Miami Dolphin victory this upcoming Sunday against a very gamed and a very tough Buffalo Bill team. But let me tell you, Buffalo got exposed real bad against New England Patriots. They got slaughtered by the Patriots, especially in the passing game. Brady absolutely shredded them. Ryan Tannehill had a very good game. Not a great game, but a very good game. The numbers do not lie. He didn't commit any turnovers like he did against the Redskins. He was basically almost clean throughout the game. He did get sacked twice, but that was pretty much late in the game. He's got to be better. Our offensive line has to protect him for 4 full quarters, not just for 3.5. So with that said, that's it for week 2, guys. We'll be back after the Miami Dolphin game against the Buffalo Bills for week 3. And until then, I'm Mike Flecha. Thanks a lot for watching this. Please like this video, leave a comment at the bottom. And until then, I will see you very soon. Good night from East Providence, Rhode Island. How's the Ham Hounds? We out. Have a good night, folks. Bye-bye.